Having just read Genesis chapter 12, the call of Abraham, to me it leaves more questions than answers. So you look at verse 2, I will cause you to become the father of a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and I will make you a blessing to others. Verse 3 says, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So that's a continuation of the theme of Noah's generation and God continuing to bless that lineage and Abraham just being another beneficiary of that blessing. And then we go to verse 4 and it says, Abram departed as the Lord had instructed him, and he took Lot. And Abram was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, and his nephew Lot, and all his wealth and everything else. And verse 6, they travel through Canaan, and then we arrive at verse 7. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I am going to give this land to you, to your offspring, actually. So verse 7, then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I am going to give this land to your offspring. And Abram built an altar there to commemorate the Lord's visit. So this was a place that was intended for Abram's offspring. And going on to verse 11, as he was approaching the borders of Egypt, Abram said to Sarai, you're a very beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife, let's kill him so that we can have her. And that's a sentiment that many can relate to today, you know, that covetousness of a lot of people in terms of other people's partners. You can look at the divorce rates currently, you can look at the marriage rates as well. And there is a trend that kind of speaks to some of what is being spoken about here, that covetousness of people towards, I guess, other people's partners, and that's a reality even today. So that's a sentiment that one can in some fashion understand. Abram was scared that if he said this very beautiful Sarai was his wife, instantly anyone that was interested in Sarai would see Abram as an obstacle. So to avoid that situation going into Egypt, Abram pretty much told a white, black, small, big lie that he was actually Sarai's brother. And it had the effect of people trying to please him to garner favor with Sarai. And that was the intention that Abram had. And then we go on to verse 15. And it says, when the palace officials saw her, they sang her praises to the king, the pharaoh, and she was taken into his harem. So I don't have the contextual understanding of what that harem would have been like. Would it have been like a harem today, a call house? Or is this a place where, I guess, future pharaohs' wives are kept? But regardless of what it was then, the intent on the pharaoh's part, at least, was that he intended to marry Sarai, being such a beautiful woman and available to be married. So this caused Pharaoh to sin a multitude of ways. So verse 16 says, the Pharaoh gave Abram many gifts because of her: sheep, cattle, donkeys, male and female servants, and camels. So this was a conduit for Abram's blessing. He was blessed because of Sarai, but also because of Sarai. That led to Pharaoh potentially sinning as well, because verse 18, so Pharaoh called for Abram and accused him sharply. What is this that you've done to me? He demanded. Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why were you willing to let me marry her, saying she was your sister? Here is your wife. Take her and be gone. So when Pharaoh actually realized this, he did repent in many ways, because he did not intend to take someone's wife, and he sent Abram away. It doesn't say that he retrieved the donkeys and the cattle, so Abram was the richer for this. And that brings this chapter to an end. So the questions about, does the means justify the end? Does the end justify the means? Is survival the objective so that these offspring may come and occupy Canaan? or is there something else? So I feel like this is a lot of information on the surface, but to understand this properly, we need to read the text within the context of that time when these people lived, because there's always the risk of judging based on the norms of today, but it would have been very different back then. So definitely one for more research to understand the context, and especially husbands being killed and wives being taken away. How frequent was that in the biblical Egypt? And also in terms of the Pharaoh, how many wives would he have taken? Was this a norm? Would he typically kill men and take their wives away during that time? So that's definitely one for research, just in terms of understanding Genesis chapter 12 in greater detail. Any comments, any clarity you can share, please pop that in the comments.